welcome to the interview series with Unzipped. And firstly, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your current role in your brand?
Sure, my name's Hayley and I am the founder and lead designer of Class of 84 Clothing. We create swimwear, matching swimwear for the entire family made from recycled plastic bottles.
Amazing, amazing. So sustainability is very important to you, which is music to our ears. So let's start in the very beginning. I always like to start with the background. So yeah, what did you study? What was your kind of first job? And what's pretty much been your career to date?
So I have zero experience in fashion, in design, absolutely no clue when I first started. I did a social degree, which is just, basically a degree that you do if you don't know what you want to do. Sorry, all those people that have studied social science. Then I went in to do a Master's of International Studies, and the plan was to become a diplomat. That was the goal. And then somehow, I still don't really know how, I fell into television and started producing and directing mainly sport. And then I eventually moved over to the advertising world. So I was lucky enough that I was able to move to New York, and my previous role before this role was I was vice president of an ad agency over there, where I was looking after brands like Nike, brand Jordan, Chanel, Amazon, all these really big brands doing huge marketing campaigns and so forth in the ad world. So for me, that was my extent of working in fashion. I'd work with fashion brands on the marketing and advertising side. In terms of all the other side of it, absolutely no clue whatsoever.
Yeah, wow, super interesting and amazing names to have got to have worked with. So I guess from that background of working in the TV, the advertising, what skills would you say that you were able to take from that helped you to launching your own business?
Do you know what? I was a bit naive, and I thought that, like most females, like fashion, love swimwear, own a lot of swimwear. I won't say how many because my husband will probably watch this. What, this is going to be pretty easy and pretty straightforward. And I worked in New York, and I had managed, and I think I had around 200 people by the time that I left that were working for me at the time. So in my mind, I was thinking, all right, we're doing that, and going to running a small fashion business would be relatively easy, but it really wasn't. Obviously, there are a lot of skills that are transferable, the advertising, the marketing side of things, but when it came to the business side of fashion, it's just a completely different world. And even though I had worked with Nike and Chanel and those big brands, it was on a very different level to what I'm doing now. So incredible.
Amazing. So then I guess if you definitely had the confidence of working with people, managing multiple tasks, I'm sure. So that's a great kind of, management skill that you would have learned there. So how did you then go into launching the business? So you obviously must have had to learn about sourcing and how to design products. How did you actually take that step into doing it?
It's funny that you mentioned the management side of things, because I was used to managing people, and I had gone from managing people to having to do everything myself. And that was really, really big. And I felt like I went from the top to the very, very bottom again. And I felt like I was just starting out and completely learning again. So yes, I had confidence, but that confidence and I guess, that thinking, oh yeah, I can do this, it disappeared pretty quickly when I'm having conversations with people, and they're using words that I didn't understand. Or I remember I was having this conversation and they were talking about MOQs. What? I didn't even know what that was when I first started out.
And you don't want to ask for those that don't know.
What does it mean? So I guess I'm going to just I promise I don't know. I'm going to describe it in a way that I guess it's the amount that you're going to order. So when someone says, what's sort of your MOQ, it's how many do you want to, what are you looking to order? Are you looking to order 10 of these? Are you looking to order 50? Are you looking to order 100? But for me, I'm hearing these words, and that was just one of many. And, I'm sitting there having these conversations, and I'm Googling on the side, like, what does this word mean?
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
To not even know some of the basic lingo, you feel like a massive fraud. And there are so many times, what the am I doing? And I'm way in over my head. So it wasn't until, I had to take a step back and go, you know what? This is all new to me, and I'm going to ask these questions.
Yeah.
Because yourself and your business first. And I needed to know the answers to these questions.
Right.
And if the person on the other side thought I was a complete idiot or whatever, who cares? So what? It's not about it.
That's so fantastic tip that, never be afraid to ask questions. And I think that just stands in life full stop. But really good.
Exactly. So I had to almost do a complete reset, because everything I knew about business and, everything I knew about the way to operate, I had to, as I said, do a complete reset and start from scratch and learn things. And I remember when I first went into the TV industry, I remember my first day on the job, and it was the same thing. They were using all these TV terminologies and these words that I had no idea what they were, but I didn't really want to ask because I'm thinking, I don't want to sound like an idiot. So, you're Googling, you're trying to figure out what it is. And it was the same thing when I was starting off in the fashion industry, exactly the same. So it's like I'd gone from the top to the very bottom again. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's been great, and it's been amazing to learn so many new things, and it's really, really refreshing. And I still don't have all the answers, and I've still got plenty more to learn, but that's all part of the process.
Yeah, totally. So are you pretty much doing it by yourself? Have you invested in specialists of certain areas? How have you kind of made those choices?
Initially, again, and we'll talk about that confidence side of things, I did try and do it all myself, and a couple of reasons. One, because it is a startup and you're trying to save costs wherever you can, and you're watching every dollar that you spend. But it got to a point where the ball started to roll a little bit, and I realized, you know what, I can't do this on my own. I need to reach out to specialist people, like yourself, which is why I contacted you initially, because I needed help. I didn't know where to go to from here. I'd got it to a stage where I'm making sales online, and I've got my Shopify store up and running, and I've got my influencers on social media, and sales are going really well, but what next? What do I do now? So that's when I realized, okay, you know what, I can't do this on my own. And for me, every decision I make comes down to the ROI, which is the return on investment. So for me, I looked and thought, you know what, I want to take my business to the next level. So to do that, I need to reach out to people that have professionals in the industry, know what they're doing, know what MOQs are, and can really, and know the lingo, and can really, take the business to the next level. So for me, that's when I decided, as I said, reaching out to you and your company to really help me and sort of guide me. And again, I remember the first conversation I had with you. The questions I was asking you were all these basic questions as well. And you would say, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, oh, well, what do you think I should do? And, it was really quite a challenging thing. But luckily, after a couple of conversations with you, even after the first conversation, really, I realized, okay, Carley's here to help. This is what this person's going to do. And this is how I'm going to get to that next level, by engaging with people that are experts. Like, Nike, why Chanel came to us in New York, because when it came to advertising and that side of things, that's what we could do well. So, that's the same process.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I guess that background of, coming from a team, you want those sounding boards around you. So that's really great, again, advice. But fantastic. You launched pretty much by yourself. So it's a huge achievement to actually get into the market and do it. So amazing work. I want to take it that little bit step back. How did you actually think of the idea? What came to mind when you thought, oh, I want to launch a sustainable swimwear brand? What was that very beginning step?
Well, it was a complete accident, and I had no intention of actually launching a fashion brand. As I said, I knew nothing about fashion, and it was never something in my mind, nor was it ever a desire to start a fashion brand. But my husband and I, we relocated back to Australia after being in New York and had my first baby. And for his first Father's Day, I wanted to get them a matching pair of board shorts. I thought that would be really cute present. And I searched everywhere trying to find, a matching pair of father-son swimwear that I really liked. couldn't find it. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to design it myself and do it myself. And it took me so long to do. And halfway through, I really regretted my decision because it was taking so long to, go through that process and get samples made and do all that. And it was becoming quite costly as well. But it got to the point where I'm like, it's his first Father's Day. I've got to make it super special. This would be a really cool present. And I had no other ideas. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to keep pushing through. Eventually came through. And it's funny, I look at the first pair that I ever made, and I was so proud of it at the time. And I thought, these are amazing, but I would never sell them. Like, they're so terrible. Like, looking back now, going, wow, that was really bad. But I was so proud at the time because I was thinking, wow, I've designed these shorts, I've created them. I was so proud of myself. And look, the design was really cool, and they would wear them together, and people would make comments and go, wow, that's amazing. And, can you make us a pair? And so it just kind of started really naturally and organically, where people were saying, oh, I really like, what you're doing.
Yeah.
So from there, I thought, okay, well, maybe this is something. And I really enjoyed the process of learning something new and making the swimwear. And I thought, you know what, let's give this a shot. Let's just make a few. And it was only going to be a very, very small thing. I didn't intend to make it into a business, really. It was just going to be a small thing that I was going to do just on the side.
Yeah.
So I started making a few patterns and a few designs, and I started getting a few made, and more people were interested, and I started selling them, and they started doing really well. And at that point, it wasn't a sustainable brand. We didn't make it from recycled plastic bottles at that point. That's when I started really doing some research into the fashion industry and really trying to learn and realize the bad environmental impacts, that the fashion industry has on the environment. And if I'm going to do this, I need to look at sustainable options. And that's when I found the whole, that you could, developing to make swimwear out of recycled plastic bottles, which to me just blew my mind. Like, how is that even possible? What would they feel like? I mean, the first thought was, I do not want to wear swimwear made from recycled plastic bottles. Like, that just is
sweaty and not breathable. And totally.
Me. But I was really surprised, and as I said, it took a while. It really did take a long time. This didn't just happen overnight. To go down that path and be happy with samples. And the great part about it now is when I hand people a pair of our swimwear, and then I tell them it's made out of recycled plastic bottles, they would have absolutely no idea unless I told them. So for me, that's what was really, really important, that you didn't know that. You're not putting them on going, oh, I feel like I'm wearing plastic bottles. It's not like that at all. And that was really important. So I guess, as I said, we didn't start off as being a sustainable fashion brand. We didn't really even start off as a fashion brand. It was never, that was never really.
That's, again, though, a lot of people can start like that. And that's not, again, it's not a bad piece of advice to say, test the idea first, see if you get good reactions, and then, truly build that business. Fantastic journey. And
it was many years too before, by the time we made our first one till it was actually launched, it was almost a year after that. So it was a long time in between of that test. Trying to get the product right before we actually, went to market.
So roughly how long has your journey been then? Like, kind of the key milestones, would you say, from idea to getting it right and to where you are today?
Yeah, so as I said, I think it was about roughly maybe just under a year from the time that decided, okay, you know what, this could actually be something, till it actually become something. And it's funny, I think back now and think, wow, that's a really long time, but it wasn't, and especially if you're starting from scratch and starting, and have a background like me, which is zero background in fashion. It really took a long time, and there was so many mistakes made along the way and so many setbacks. And I didn't want to go out until I knew that I had a really good product, because I feel like if you don't have a good product to start with, then that's it. So that was my feeling. I wanted to make sure that it was right. So it was probably a good year. And then for that first year that we were operating as well, there was so many trial and errors during that process as well to get that right. So I feel it sort of took 2.5 years to actually, nearly 3 years to kind of get to the point now where, and look, we've still got a lot of work to do, in the sense that when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to fashion, and you know, I feel like you just get the product right and you think, okay, well, what's next? What else can we do? And you know, we're looking at other ways. We're looking at carbon offsetting and different ways that we can make the business even more sustainable in the future. So I don't, you know, I don't profess that we have all the answers and we have it all right now. We don't. I think there are always things that we can do to improve and get better and make better product. And you know, we just started off as matching swim shorts for men and kids, and I had so many females reach out to me saying, well, hang on, you know, make something for us. So you know, then I had to go back to the drawing board and go, all right, I need to now look at the women's side of it. So we've only just now launched our women's range. We've also done a kids range as well of like long sleeve swimwear, and that's only just come out in the last couple of weeks. So for us, you know, I feel like we're starting all over again and it's all fresh again, because now we've got new products to market, new products to push out, and it all feels very fresh and very new again.
Yeah. And for those that haven't seen it, your women's swim is beautiful. So you've done an absolutely amazing job. So people definitely need to go check that out. But yeah, I think everything you have just explained is so inspirational, because, you know, if you think about it, a 3-year journey really isn't that long, from where, again, you've started from, again, nothing to evolving from matching sets, sustainable, to kids, to women's. It's absolutely, yeah, it's such a big achievement. So yeah, super inspirational to others. Would you have any kind of tips and advice of where you've kept up to date with, reading news and being inspired, and what do you read to evolve your product and your bring ideas to the table?
So I'm, you know, I read a lot of the fashion blogs, a lot of the fashion journals. As you know, I'm regularly reading all of yours, all of your latest blog posts, which has been very helpful. I'm also looking at all the sustainability sites, because as I said, that's a new thing for me as well, learning about sustainability in fashion and ways to do it better, and learning about that and reaching out to people. And that's one thing that I would say, make sure you do reach out to people. You know, I don't proclaim to be an expert in fashion or sustainability, but, you know, reaching out to those that know more than you do to continue to learn and continue to evolve the brand. I think that is really, really important to do, and just read as much as you can. I think that's really, really key. And the other thing I did as well is I looked at other fashion brands that I really liked, and just Googled their story, go to their website about them, how did they get to where they were, and what, you know, decisions they've made, and things like that. Really, really helpful as well to hear their story. And what I found too was everyone has a different story, and it's all, you know, it's all completely unique, and that was reassuring too, because if you look at some of the people's backgrounds, you think, okay, well, you know, you haven't got a background in fashion either, and, you know, maybe you can do this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, amazing. Really good to hear. So I guess from, again, just interesting facts from the day you launched, what would you say were, your biggest surprises? Like, what didn't you expect to work that did? Or what, again, the opposite of that bombed and didn't do very well? Did you have some big ones, big surprises?
Oh yeah. So coming from an advertising, you know, background, I thought I need to do something that's going to get the attention. And let's face it, you know, when you're launching a fashion brand, you know, all the big fashion magazines and blogs and all that, no one's going to really be too interested. You know, I think you've got to really, like anything, you've got to prove yourself, you've got to prove your product. And so I thought to myself, I need to create something that's going to create a bit of splash, something that's going to, you know, get a bit of attention. So, and I never actually thought it was going to sell very well. I created a pair of board shorts that had meat pies on them. And for me, I thought it was almost a bit of a joke, really. And they turned into our best sellers, which was absolutely crazy. But then on the other side of it as well, one of our other best sellers is a plain brown pair of shorts. So we've got this crazy meat pie pair, and then you've got a plain brown pair, which is one of my favorites too. Both selling really well. So it kind of makes it challenging, because we want to make these really cool designs, but you know, you're trying to listen to, and I have a lot of interaction on social media. I'm always talking to people on social media, and people are giving me ideas and saying, oh, we'd love to see this and we'd love to see that. So I think, you know, that's really important as well, connecting with your customer and finding out what they want. And certainly is really, really helpful to have that direct conversations with those people. But yeah, as I said, for me, the whole meat pie board short, that was a bit of a joke, and really a bit of a marketing kind of gimmick. It turned into one of our best sellers, which is crazy.
Brilliant. So good. And again, for those, I will definitely be posting a photo of them because they're fantastic. They are so perfect.
I'll have to just show you so much so that this year we're actually going to release a sausage sizzle pair.
Amazing. So good.
And again, this comes off the back of the whole, meat pie thing, that it was really successful, did really well. So we're going to launch those closer to Australia Day. We figure that, might have a bit of hype leading up to Australia Day. But I think that's going to be something that we do now. Each year we'll release some kind of really quirky, strange kind of pair of shorts that
it's picking the holidays, your audience. So again, that's another fantastic tip. It's what's novel, what's going to really resonate with your audience. So it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And I guess so. What is the future for your brand? Do you have any new kind of paths you will undertake, or are you focusing on swimwear for now, sustainability, and obviously the new release of women's?
Yeah, I think that's key for us. As I said, with just launching our kids swimwear and our women's swimwear, it's really, getting that right, hearing back from people, getting feedback. As I said, it's really important for us to connect directly with the customer, finding out what they like, what they don't like, and really, making sure we get that right. And then, as I mentioned before, sustainability is the big thing for us. We're looking at carbon offsetting, and looking into that path where we can become more sustainable in the future. So that's really the key for us right now, is to go down that path and see what we can do.
Perfect. Brilliant. So I guess the last kind of few bits that, obviously, if you're now talking to a startup, put yourself back where you were, would you be able to share kind of your biggest kind of tips to somebody that's just starting out, or simply give them a warming sentence of encouragement, whichever choice you want. But what would you say to a startup just starting out?
So there's a couple of things I would say. And the first thing is that hopefully you'll hear this and go, all right, if she can do it, I can do it. And I think that's the key. If I can do this, anyone can do it. With no fashion background, no experience, you can absolutely do it. The other thing I would say as well is, if you are starting out, don't wait too long to reach out for help, and reach out to, I think one of the regrets I have is, when I reached out to you, I wish I had done that 6 months earlier. I feel like I probably would have been in a better position right now, and I think that I probably waited a little bit too long. And part of that is pride and thinking, okay, I can do this on my own, and also the other part was not really knowing where to go for help or what to do. So I would say that just don't leave it for too long before you reach out for help. And especially in the early days of your business, that's the most important part. Those early days, you want to get it right. So the more advice you have from those that have launched businesses before or in the fashion world, the better off that you're going to be, and you're going to set your business up, for success in the future. Because I do find there are mistakes that we made along the way that I think if we had have reached out sooner, we probably wouldn't have made those mistakes. So I think that's key.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you. And fantastic story, fantastic inspiration. And thank you for taking the time to help others, pretty much. So I will share some definite key highlights. The meat pies are going to be shared for sure. Pretty much check out Class of '84. It's absolutely incredible. And you're doing a fantastic thing for the fashion world as well as the rest of the world. So thank you so much. So thank you, and we'll end it there, and I shall share some more info. But thank you, Hayley, and speak soon.